Hello, I am John Najarian, and RebelCon 2022 is almost here. We do have a virtual pass. The virtual pass gives you full access to everything, all the streams, the live trading sessions, all of our fabulous keynote speakers. So to learn more about what's going on at RebelCon 2022, whether you're in person or virtual, check out marketrebellion.com/Dallas.
Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. Yes, it's Hump Day. Yes, we're in Dallas. And yes, it's RebelCon. And we're really excited about that. Everywhere I walk, I see people extremely excited about what the events that are going on as we start off today. And we've got a great golf tournament. We got a big old barbecue scheduled later on. I mean, there's a whole lot of different things going on. And it's the next 3 or 4 days, actually, all the way through Saturday, where we're going to be at the NASCAR. But let's not get too far in front of ourselves. Let's go back, as a matter of fact, to yesterday. Markets started off pretty weak. They ended pretty weak. There was pressure on the markets almost throughout the entire session. We did finish down about 300 points or 1% on the Dow. We also had the NASDAQ down about 110% points, which was about a 1% move there. And the S&P down about 1% or about 43 points as well. So you get the idea. Pretty much across the board, we had the same kind of a vibe going out throughout the session. We had crude sort of holding around that 83, 84 range, nat gas starting to perk up a little bit, but 775 getting up there towards 8 and then pulling off a little bit. But really the storyline of yesterday, again, the 2-year pushing on that 4% and the 10-year pushing 3.6%. Actually, it was definitely over 3.5. We did hit 3.6. We pulled back just a little bit. We also had volatility that was well over 2750, call it. And then you got the volatility index of the NASDAQ. That was up in the 33. So it gives you a bit of a sense of, hey, look, there's some volatility, there's some nervousness. And we got the Fed, and today is the Fed day. As a matter of fact, the concentration was a little bit light yesterday when you look at some of the volume in the options world, about 35 million. That's a little bit surprising, but maybe folks just kind of easing back and wanting to see exactly what the Fed has to say and that decision today. And I think everybody is collectively looking for about a 0.75 of a point move, and that is what's been the transparency of the Fed. We'll see how that actually is fed into the markets once we get that and how much movement we'll get out of that. It seems to me so transparent, but there's always that crazy movement that we do see post-Fed. We'll see how it goes go around. Every single sector closed in the red yesterday. So yes, we were down 300 in the Dow, and yes, we were down more than 110 when you look over at the NASDAQ, but you look across and everything was moving. You look at materials, they were the leader. They were down more than 2% yesterday. Nucor was down 4%. You had Cliffs down about 3% yesterday. You look at consumer discretion, Amazon, Home Depot, Nike, all getting pulled to the downside. That was a sector that was down about 1.7% yesterday. You look at the communication sector with Snap and Pinterest and all those various names. That was getting pulled to the downside. Financials led by JP Morgan and Citi, that was pulling the markets down. You get the idea of what I'm going through here. But the best of the worst yesterday was in technology. You look over at Apple, everything else is getting sold off, so it felt, and yet Apple was up 1.5%, a decent move actually to the upside, while everything else is cascading to the downside. But you did have some pull from Google, you did have some pull from Amazon, so you certainly had reasons why we saw the technology was down about 0.5%, but it just sure was interesting to see what was going on with Apple yesterday. So today, a strong start. Up about 150 in the pre-market, up about 70 on the NASDAQ. We've been fluctuating back and forth, but up, call it 200 on the Dow, up around 45 or thereabouts. It seems like between, call it 35 and 55 is where the NASDAQ has been in this first hour. Crude was a little bit higher, it was up towards 85. That's eased back towards 84. You got the volatility index still holding into the upper 26s. And you've got that VXN in the 33s. Nat gas, not doing a whole heck of a lot. The 2-year and the 10-year, that's still the focus. Still above 3.5 for the 10-year, still pushing on that 4% for the 2-year as well. We'll keep a very, very close eye on that. We know how much that's been an influence on the markets. You've got Bitcoin actually holding a little bit above 19,000. Call it 19,200, sort of there. You've got industrials kind of leading the way right now, up better than 1% right out of the gate, about 1.5% now. I see technology's gotten a little bit of an ease back there, but the financials have eased up. As a matter of fact, the financials were relatively flat, now up about, call it 0.3% or so. So a little bit of gyrations there, a little bit of shifting around, but there are some specific names that I think are worth mentioning today in terms of on the positive side, post earnings. You look at something like General Mills, my old good Minnesota company. These guys did come through. That stock is up very, very nicely today. Then you've got, of course, you look at what's going on with Lockheed Martin. You look at other names in that space, General Dynamics. That's having a pretty good one as well. You got Northrop Grumman, all of those having a very nice progressive day to the upside. And then you've got that solid space where you've got like a Kellogg's and you've got Walmart, those pulling to the upside very nicely today. As a matter of fact, Walmart's got some commentary out there and people are kind of feeling off of that. You've got the semiconductors, the SMH definitely having a pretty decent start to the day. You've got names like Qualcomm and NVIDIA and Skyworks and Marvell all to the upside fairly significantly. Not everything is perfect, though. You've got cruise ships, they're getting pulled down. Names like Royal Caribbean and Carnival pulling to the downside. You've also got some of those airlines, names like United, got the Chinese names, NetEase and Baidu and JD pulling to the downside. So you've got a little bit of the yin and the yang going on right now. Very, very interesting how the day is pulling and in the different directions, but primarily to the upside and certainly bouncing off of yesterday's selling. And that actually fell into what was really going on in the previous week where we really did take a pretty significant hit to the downside. I've got some unusual for you as well. I've got Glaxo, GSK, trading around $30.25, 8,000 of Friday's expiring calls, September 23rd. These are the 31 calls. They're 15 cents up to about 25 cents. You got to like the risk reward there. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but without having to make a huge move, but a move to the upside, this is a name that certainly those options, and somebody's playing that they will actually move to the upside. 8,000 of those September 31 calls getting bought. But remember, you've only got today, tomorrow, and Friday for these to work. So just keep that in mind as well. We have a very, very active start to the day in the unusual options world. We are here at RebelCon. We're really excited. A lot of people are flying in today. There are people who've come in as of yesterday, already going on a few rounds of golf before we actually hit the tournament itself today. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be exciting. John and I will be floating around and hitting the ball around with a lot of these folks and enjoying what a beautiful weather we've got here down in Dallas. Really excited about that. The Four Seasons doing a great job. Kudos to them. Absolutely spectacular, and we really are enjoying it. I'll tell you what, the Rebels, we love RebelCon. Folks, have a great day of trading.